Have you ever stopped to think about where everything goes? You know, every photo you share, every movie you stream, every file you save, it all has to live somewhere. Well, a huge piece of that somewhere is a service you probably use every single day without even realizing it. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on Amazon S3, what I like to call the internet's infinite storage locker. All right, so why is this so-called storage locker such a big deal? Well, to really get it, we've got to rewind a bit and look at the massive problem it was built to solve. I'm talking about the absolute flood of data we're all creating every single day. I mean, just think about it for a second. Your phone's camera roll alone, then add in all the shows you stream, the documents you save. It's a mind-boggling amount of stuff. So the big question is, where does it all actually go? How does the whole system not just buckle under the weight of it all? And here's the real kicker. It's not just about how much data we have right now. It's about how insanely fast it's growing. We're talking about exponential growth. The digital universe is expanding at a speed that's, well, it's hard to even wrap your head around. And the old ways of storing files, they just couldn't keep up, not even close. So, this brings us to the year 2006. Amazon looks out at the horizon, sees this digital tsunami coming, and they launch a service specifically designed to ride that wave. They called it the Simple Storage Service, or S3 for short. And let me tell you, it completely changed the game. Okay, so what is S3, really? Let's forget all the complicated tech diagrams for a second. The absolute best way to understand this thing is with a super simple analogy. We're going to think of it as the cloud's very own storage locker. Now, the official, kind of nerdy definition is that S3 is an object storage service. And I know, that sounds technical, but the core idea is actually brilliant in its simplicity. See, instead of putting files in folders like you do on your computer, S3 treats every single thing, a photo, a video, a PDF, as its own self-contained object. And that one little change is the secret sauce that lets it scale to, well, an almost unimaginable size. And this is where our analogy comes back in full force. I want you to picture a gigantic, seemingly endless facility filled with storage lockers. You can rent as many as you need, they're available 24/7, and they are ridiculously secure. That, right there, is the big idea behind S3. Okay, so if S3 is this giant storage facility, how do you actually, use it? It all boils down to three really simple concepts: buckets, objects, and keys. Let's break them down. First up, you've got the bucket. This is your personal storage unit, your locker in the cloud. It's the main container where you're going to keep all your stuff. The only catch, its name has to be 100% unique across the entire globe, kind of like an email address or a website domain. No two can be the same. All right, next is the object. So if the bucket is your storage locker, the object is basically the box you put inside it. This box is what holds your actual data. Could be a photo, a backup file, even a huge 4K movie. And when I say huge, I am not kidding. A single object can be up to 5 terabytes in size. That's massive. But wait, if you've got millions of boxes in your locker, how do you find the one you're looking for? Well, that's where the key comes in. The key is really just the unique name for your object. Think of it like the label you write on the box. It's the exact address you need to find and pull out that specific file instantly. All right, having infinite storage is cool and all, but here's where S3 gets really smart. It's all about how it helps you save money. Because let's be honest, not all data is created equal, right? So you shouldn't have to pay for it like it is. Think about it like a real-world storage facility. The stuff you need all the time, you'd keep that right up front. Easy to grab. But old tax documents from 10 years ago, you'd probably stick those in a cheaper unit way in the back. Well, S3 does the exact same thing, and it calls these different options storage classes. And this chart here lays it out beautifully. For the data you need, like right now, think images on a popular website, you use S3 Standard. That's your premium front of the locker spot. For stuff you don't access as much, maybe monthly backups, there's Standard IA. It's cheaper, but still zippy when you need to grab something. And then for the real long-term archival stuff you almost never touch, that's where S3 Glacier comes in. It's like the deep basement storage, super, super cheap, but just know it might take a few hours to retrieve your files. Okay, I know this might all sound a little abstract, like it's just for tech people. But here is the amazing part. You, right now, are interacting with S3 all the time, and you probably don't even know it. It is the invisible engine that powers a massive part of the internet we use every day. You know that show you binge watched last night? Yeah, the video files for that are probably sitting in S3. Or that photo app you love on your phone. It's almost certainly using S3 to store all those pictures. We're talking millions of websites, crucial company backups, even the gigantic data sets that power huge analytics projects, they all lean on S3's simple, powerful storage. So let's wrap this up. Why should any of us care about a cloud service that was launched way back in 2006? Well, because its impact has been, and still is, absolutely massive. It's exactly like this quote says. S3 isn't just some other service out there. It's a foundational piece, a core building block of the entire cloud. By giving everyone a simple, super reliable, and cheap way to store data, it basically became the launchpad for thousands of apps and technologies that we now take for granted. When you boil it all down, the genius of S3 was its simplicity. It gave developers a straightforward answer to a huge, growing problem. It handed them the keys to an infinite storage locker. And with that one simple but powerful tool, they went on to build the digital world we all live in. And that leaves us with one last question to chew on. S3 was the perfect, revolutionary answer for the data explosion of the last couple of decades. But as our digital footprint gets even bigger, think AI models, entire virtual worlds. You have to wonder, what comes next? What's the storage locker of the future going to look like?